you can answer this question about the rise of Islamic fundamentalism. And you have a section in the book where a former director or the boss of the CIA who had warned that there is a bit of a trend around here and that everybody should watch out for. Can you help us understand when did it start, this whole concept?
This is Richard Helms, who's a former director of the CIA, was, after falling out with the Nixon administration, was ambassador in Tehran and was doing tours in the Middle East. This is in the 70s, and he said it's really interesting what's happening. Islam is really growing in strength. Even leftists are giving, the religious side of things some respect now, paying lip service to religion, he said, but actually it was more than that. But, so he was very clear that he could see the signs of a new religious resurgence as early as 72, 73. Interestingly, the CIA a year or so later do this report where they say, actually, the era of revolutions in the Arab world is over. In fact, in the Middle East is over. And they were wrong. They just got the wrong kind of revolution. They were thinking about sort of colonels in uniform storming palaces. Or communists. And it wasn't the case that revolution had gone. It was a revolution had been redefined. And it had been redefined with a new vocabulary, a new framing, quite similar enemies in some ways, but in a radically new way. And it was what we still have to an extent now. This was the big wave of Islamic activism was coming through from the late 60s, built in the 70s. And then in 79 you have the Iranian Revolution, and you have the storming of the Great Mosque in Mecca by jihadi militants, basically messianic Islamic militants, who fight a huge battle with Saudi security forces. And you then have in 81, you have the assassination of Anwar Sadat, President of Egypt. And these three things are like kind of hammer blows on a bell, kind of ringing out, this is something new that's coming. And I leave the book in 84, 85 with Osama bin Laden, who was inspired by the people who took over the mosque in Mecca, who knew obviously all about what had happened in Iran, as well as the failures of the left, the Arab left in the 70s, to achieve very much anywhere, and its repression. And who 83, 84 is beginning to formulate some very new ideas about where and how to fight. Interestingly, the enemies are not that dissimilar. America, Israel,